Tonight on Joy News Prime, OT Region adds to the number of regions affected by the coronavirus pandemic with 13 COVID-19 cases. Meanwhile, 6 Nigerians in mandatory quarantine in the region have fled.
And so we provided security, and the security was a bit loose.
We'll be bringing you the very latest in Ghana's case count. Now, 2 people being treated for COVID-19 share their stories of trauma and anxiety with us as Joy News obtains exclusive access to interact with some patients under care at the University of Ghana Medical Center.
It is scary. I mean, you have all the symptoms, and obviously you'll be very scared. You can't sleep at night, you're sleepless, you're restless.
We also gained access to the Veterinary Service Directorate, one of the facilities that have improved Ghana's COVID-19 testing capability.
This will accompany the sample sent by Noguchi to our facility here at VSD. And when it comes here, our team, as you can see from there, are doing the sorting.
Also in this bulletin, children in Chokwa, a fishing community in Accra, appeal to government to reopen schools as they are unable to benefit from online teaching classes. We will hear from them as the COVID-19 exposes huge inequality gap between the haves and the have-nots.
I want government to open the school so that you can go to school and go and learn. I don't have computer and phones that will be going on internet to learn. So I just sit at home and watch television.
And as Muslims start Ramadan fast in very unusual times, we will hear from a family on how differently they are observing the fast.
If we were in normal times, this place would have been packed.
And in business,
analysts predict slow economic recovery for Ghana post-coronavirus pandemic.
Bouncing back, it will be slow because you will not expect people to consume 3 times now that we are back, to consume 3 times things that they didn't do.
I'm Israel I, anchoring from home. And remember, Joy News Prime is live on digital terrestrial TV because we are free to air.
And my name is Aisha Ibrahim, coming to you live from our studios in Kokomlemle on digital address GA0992539. The bulletin is also live on DSTV channel 421 and GoTV channel 144. Please stay tuned.
In our very first story, 6 Nigerians under mandatory quarantine at a guest house at Sato in the Kejebe district, while awaiting their COVID-19 test results, have absconded. Joy News is learning this happened last Monday when health officials went to check on them but found that they had left the facility without notice. The Nigerians were among 37 commuters who were arrested last week in the OT Region district were trying to legally leave the country despite the closure of the borders. They were said to be returning from Nkoko in the Eastern Region. District Chief Executive of KJB, Maxwell Esiedu, has been explaining developments to Joy News' Peter Senu.
On Monday, when my driver sent their food, he saw that their belongings were packed in the room and they were not there. So he left the food in the room for them. Then in the afternoon, when he got there again with their afternoon food, lunch, he saw they were also not there again, and the food he said sent there in the morning was also there. And so it was then that we had an alarm, and so we began to look for them, but to no avail. So really, they have really squandered.
Senu has been speaking with health authorities and police in the area. He joins us via telephone with more on that. Now, Peter, provide us with some context. Who are these individuals in the mandatory self-quarantine who apparently have fled?
These are Nigerians, popularly known as the Zamarama people, who usually either sell basic, clothing, pomade, and other things. But these are guys who claim they are returning from a Koko, and their business they usually do is to polish and then cut finger and toenails for their clients.
All right, so why were they arrested?
Well, the arrest came on the back of their attempt to use one unapproved, though, but it's a border post in the KJB district. They came, a taxi cab dropped them, and then they were making moves to take motorbikes to use the Pilaete 3, which is a border post into Togo. So clearly, we don't have any legal grounds, so to say, why they were arrested or not. The officials have not provided us with any basis for which they were arrested, but we understand it's due to the COVID-19 test for all commuters who pass through the district.
All right, you've been to the holding facility. Describe the place for us.
Right. This is a 4-unit self-contained apartment. But we can say for a fact that the place has been unkempt, if not for years, but for months. It's not tidied up. The place is just bushy.
All right, you've been speaking with the police and your security sources. What have they been telling you about how these people got away?
Well, for them, contrary to earlier claims by the DCE, our sources say no security was provided to monitor these Nigerians who are being kept in that facility. And again, they also allege that food, which is although served them twice a day, does not get to them early enough. And so these people have been complaining, and so they can say that it is on these grounds they have left the quarantine facility.
Now, we have heard the District Assembly did not provide security at the quarantine center, as your sources have told you. But what has the DC been saying about this?
I didn't get you clear on that, please.
What has the DC been saying about the lack of security?
Well, you said they have provided some form of security, but the security was a relaxed one because the people were not aggressive. They were not in any hurry to. They didn't really sign that they would be escaping, and so the security was relaxed for them, and so that may be why they also took advantage of the relaxed form of security and then tried to escape.
We provided security, all right, but looking at the way of living, because in fact they were sober, and so we provided security, and the security was a bit loose, I may say, because they saw that they were going to run away, and so initially it was tight, but when we saw that they were not so harmful, the security was loose, and so they took advantage of that.
In a related development, 2 persons being treated for coronavirus infection at the University of Ghana Medical Center have been sharing stories of trauma and anxiety as they dread being stigmatized after recovery. There have been several reports from parts of the country with some people still doubting the existence of the virus in Ghana. Joy News obtained exclusive access to the UGMC Treatment Center for persons infected with the virus. They're warning people to be cautious and stay at home as government continues to battle the disease.
Psychologically, it's been very scary. It is scary. I mean, you have all the symptoms, and obviously you'll be very scared. You can't sleep at night, you're sleepless, you're restless. It's pretty hard. You don't know what can happen to you the next day. So it's very dangerous illness. I won't wish it for anybody.
One of 2 persons being treated for COVID-19 I have met here. It's been 21 days since Akai, not her real name, tested positive. She tells me she was brought here only days ago.
For me, by the time that the sample test came in where I was positive, I had already been self-isolating in my house. So I had all the resources to keep myself from infecting others. And I kept to myself and at home. They served me outside my door and everything, so nobody was actually affected. However, when it got serious a couple of days ago, because I actually wasn't breathing properly, so I had to come in. so that they can monitor me properly with oxygen and so on, support. And so that's how. But psychologically, it's actually not been easy up till now.
Long before her test results were ready, she feared she may have contracted the disease.
I was a bit too curious. I think I already figured out that I had it, considering the symptoms. I actually got the symptoms from day one. So I got the terrible headache, I got the fever, I got lots of smell and taste. I got almost everything except the sore throat, and then the shortness of breath. Anyway, so it was kind of like the sample test just confirmed my fears. Yeah.
You speak about the fact that you suspected because of all the symptoms you had got at the time. So at what point were you tested?
I was from the time I got the symptoms, I was tested about 4 days during the symptoms. So I got the headaches for about 2-3 days, and then on the 4th day I got the fever, and that's when I realized that, and I got the runny nose and the blocked nose actually. So that's when I realized that I had to call it in. So when they sampled, a sample came in about a couple of days after, but I was already doing my own treatments, in-house remedies and all that. So that was what helped me, get better at least.
The past days for her have been exhausting, but with support from health workers at the University of Ghana Medical Center, she is getting by. But her greatest fear right now is how to avoid being stigmatized by community folk after her recovery.
I am scared. If I leave here and I'm actually recovered, I don't know what I'm going to face outside, how people will perceive me in my neighborhood, especially among my friends. But the thing is that I think that it's best that you don't tell people. The less people know about it, the better, even though you wish you would have told them to help them, stay safe. But at the end of the day, the stigmatization in this country is serious. You wouldn't want to go through that. So for now, we're just keeping our fingers crossed.
How are you doing?
I'm doing better.
I meet another person I'll choose to call Polo, who has been here for 5 days.
This virus is seriously very serious. We can't take it very lightly. As I'm here for past 1 week now. I was suffering a breathlessness, but because of the doctor's team over here and the staff management, I'm getting better over here.
He hoped at the time of the test that the results would be negative.
At the time when they taken the sample, I was free that the test will be negative. But when the test came, it was a positive test. It will feel like it will give you a sudden attack that how can it be a positive.
I believe that you are being taken through the treatment and everything is going well.
Yeah, sure, everything is going well and we are under the treatment and we are getting better.
Did you present with any of the symptoms that we are learning, dry cough, dizziness, all those other things?
At that point, I wasn't having any symptoms. When the test was taken, I wasn't having any symptoms. But later on, after the result came, I was quarantined for 4 days. But after that, I realized that I'm getting breathless.
Polo and Akai are upbeat and hopeful of pulling through, but they have a message to those who still somehow believe coronavirus is a hoax.
I'm an example. In total, it's been about 21 days since I had this illness. So you can just imagine the trauma I've already faced. So if you're telling you to stay home, practice safe distancing, and you're not doing it, then you have a long way to go. It's dangerous. Keep yourself out of harm's way. Wash your hands as much as possible. Wear your face masks and all that. Just be safe out there. It's a very dangerous illness. I won't wish it for anybody.
In all, 26 persons were brought to this facility, out of which 18 have recovered and been discharged. Chief Executive Officer of the center, Dr. Darius Osei, assures the facility has the capacity to manage patients while health workers remain committed to helping combat the disease.
We are actually following the protocol of protecting ourselves. And I'm sure it is going to become one of the normal conditions that we manage if we follow the protocols and protecting ourselves well. So we've tried to demystify the myth that comes around it. And I hope that the stigma will also gradually go away, and then we will all begin to think that it is one of the normal things that come in our lives. And so far as we prepare ourselves as providers, we should be able to stand the test of time. And so far, I will congratulate my staff. They have done very well, and we hope to continue.
Ghana has recorded 125 more COVID-19 cases, bringing the total to 1,279. The Oti region debuts on the chart with 13 new cases, according to figures supplied by the Ghana Health Service on its COVID-19 website. Now, the Upper West region has 8, the Upper East has 8, Northeast has 2, Northern has 13. And then the Ashanti region has 69, the Eastern region has 56, the Central region has 9, and the Greater Accra region has the most cases with 1,089. The Western region has 1, the Volta region has 10, and the Oti region has 13. There have been 10 deaths, but 134 of the patients have recovered. Now, the Ghana Health Service says it is continuing with the supervision of the completion of a backlog of laboratory samples which have been picked for testing for the disease, a reason for the increase in cases. Now, the Northern region has recorded 9 more cases, 9 more COVID-19 cases, bringing the total to 22. So that's an update on what is actually available on the Ghana Health Service COVID-19 website. The new cases are samples of head porters who escaped the lockdown in the Greater Accra and Greater Kumasi areas. Officials have yet to locate all the 9 positive cases. Martina Bugri is our correspondent in the Northern region and joins us via phone with details. Hello, Martina. Now, the Municipal Chief Executive for Nanumba North, Abdullahi Yakub, has been speaking to you. What has he been saying?
I spoke to him after we got information that 9 cases had been recorded in the Northern region and 2 came from his municipality. So I called him up and he says that yes, his health director had just informed him that the region, the municipality had recorded 2. And he says that these are people who were returning from Accra. The number was 67 people in the bus. They got to Nkwanta North and their samples were taken. And out of that, 13 came back positive. And then 4 are from the Nkwanta North, while the remaining 9 are from the Northern region. He says that the municipality, they are yet to get the details of these communities the people come from for the contact tracing to begin.
Now, you're talking about, we're learning that the people who are involved, they are head porters, and there are 9 of them that they can't locate them. What is the situation?
What he says is that his district, the health officers were yet to give him the names of the communities. And we also know that Yenni has recorded 2 and Pandai has 1. But what we know is that the others are yet to be identified. That's what I heard from my source. When I called up the regional health director, he said he hadn't gotten the information yet, and if he gets it, he will share with us. All right.
Thank you very much, Martina Bugri, for bringing us that update there. Now, Ghana has been commended for the number of COVID-19 tests it has performed since the outbreak. This has partly been attributed to the ingenuity of the managers of the testing facilities and the adaptation of existing laboratories as additional centers. One of these is the Veterinary Service Directorate here in Accra. Joining us, Latif Idris was granted rare access to the testing center, where the head of veterinary laboratory, Dr. Theophilus Odum, explained how delicate the testing process is whilst demystifying the pooling process.
Due to the delicate nature of the facility, one needs to suit up before he is allowed entry. We are suited up. We are good to go.
Yes.
So where are we going right now?
We are entering into the main biosafety level 2 laboratory.
Okay.
Where we do the sorting and pooling of the samples.
Let's get inside and give a detail about this whole pooling and what exactly you look out for when you conduct your test.
This laboratory has been already been testing for other coronaviruses through some PREDICT project and others. But with this pandemic, we started testing from 28th of March, where we received the first RNA extract from Noguchi. So usually when we get a sample and the sample comes in here, we have our team, the team of doctors and technicians who work together to do the sorting. Sorting usually means that we compare the sample ID with the sample container to do matching. Each container comes with this document. Okay. So they have to make sure that every container is having a document attached to it. That is what.
So this document has the name of the
individual.
Okay. That we don't want to show because of.
Yeah.
So confidentiality.
It has the name of the individual and where the sample is coming with a specific sample ID. Okay. So this will accompany the sample sent by Noguchi to our facility here at VSD. And when it comes here, our team, like as you can see from there, are doing the sorting. So you can focus on them and see they are doing the sorting. So they sort the sample up to know that the number of samples tallies with the paperwork that comes with it. We have the samples coming in the container. They have already pulled the sample and we spray around it.
Okay, so this is the pooling that we've been hearing about?
This is the pooling sample. So these are 10 samples pulled together. So we'll do the extraction of this RNA. So this is a pool sample that we've been hearing about. So we have this sample, we have added everything in and pulled this sample together as one sample. So when we run this sample and it becomes positive, now we have to go back to identify the individual sample to know which individual is positive among this pool sample. That is all the pool we are talking about.
So this is what you have as a container?
Yes.
And then you put it in...
Yeah, so we put this one into an Eppendorf tube. Okay. You can see from there, they have collected a sample into an Eppendorf tube or cryoverse and give it a special ID. So as you can see, they are adding normal saline to the tubes and collect the sample in the pool into one small vial called Eppendorf tube or cryoverse. And that sample will be sent to the BSL-3 laboratory for the RNA to be extracted.
The technicians explain how laborious the test process is.
It's kind of extensive because the samples come from all over, from different locations, and then you have to look at each sample, check the names, make sure they tally with the documents that we receive. So it's a bit laborious, yeah.
So that's no need. Let me go to Chum. Chum, let me find out from you, how much of a pressure do you have at your back, considering the fact that we have some backlogs that we need to clear to know exactly our stand when it comes to the positivity rate?
Yeah, you realize that looking at the backlog that we have, once we receive the samples, then we are also trying so much that we put much effort to make sure that we are able to clear the backlog. We pull it as quick as we can, and then we send it for extraction so that the final amplification could be done, and then the results are out. So you realize that there are always samples coming. You always have to be on your toes to work.
The facility may be playing a key role in the country's testing capability, but sources tell Joy News they are running out of PPEs. Perhaps authorities may want to provide them with the requisite equipment to do more.
Municipal Assembly has today inaugurated a 20-bed facility to be used as an isolation center. The facility, which was built in 2 weeks, according to the Assembly, is part of efforts to complement government's fight against the disease. Speaking to Joy News on the sidelines of the event, head of the Adabraka Polyclinic, Dr. Abdul Razak Kwao, revealed the facility has so far recorded 9 positive cases over the last 3 weeks, adding the opening of the facility will help combat the virus.
2 walls with 10 beds each is fully finished and has individual washrooms. Speaking to Joy News, Municipal Chief Executive for Clotte Colony Ajayteria noted that though the building of the facility will put a strain on the Assembly's finances, it is needed.
We thought it's the right decision to go, and then we started the process. And about 14 days and a bit, it is done. Well, I'm very happy because initially it meant that we had to hold back certain projects that are in the budget that we should be, executing, etc. But look at the way this COVID-19 thing is spreading all over the world. So we decided to shelve other things for now and do this.
Head of Adabraka Polyclinic, Dr. Abdul Razak Kwao, noted that the facility prior to the construction had difficulty managing the patients they had received.
COVID-19 hit home in March. We really didn't have anywhere to hold our cases. We had some of the cases, and this place initially was just a shed. So when we get the cases, they just sit under the shed. That's first. And second thing, they didn't have a toilet facility so as to isolate them from sharing the toilets with the other patients. Now when we get any suspected case, we would have somewhere to keep the person.
Greater Accra Regional Minister Ishmael Ashite lauded the municipal assemblies while imploring others to emulate it. He further stressed on the need for everyone in the regions to wear face masks to help in the fight against COVID-19.
They are ready to protect themselves and protect others. I will therefore call on everybody who is living in the region or those who are coming into the region to make sure that wherever they come into public like this, they should put on a nose mask. That is able to contain major part of the spread of the virus. So everybody should do his or her best to put on a mask. If you don't have it, when you come at the source, we have other assemblies to send masks to people who cannot afford.
Meanwhile, Member of Parliament for the area, Dr. Zanetta Rollins, says more public education was needed to get everyone involved, even at the grassroots level.
And still to come in this bulletin, children in Choco Efficient Community in Accra appeal to government to reopen schools as they are unable to benefit from online teaching classes.
I want government to open the school so that you can go to school and go and learn. I don't have computer and phones that will be going on internet to learn. So I just sit at home and watch television.
And as Muslims start Ramadan fast in very unusual times, we will hear from a family on how differently they're observing the fast.
If we were in normal times, this place would have been packed.
There is more when we return from that break. Welcome back to Joy News Prime Time now for business. Daryl Kwao is here with the very latest. Daryl, what are the economists saying?
It looks like we are in for the long haul when it comes to the coronavirus pandemic and when we are going to recover. So Ghana's economy is expected to experience a slow growth recovery post-coronavirus pandemic. The Finance Minister, Ken Ofori-Atta, recently indicated the Ghanaian economy is likely to see a steep drop, then a 2 to 3 year downward slide before the recovery. Now, speaking to Joy Business, financial analyst Charles Mensah put into perspective some reasons the economy will see a slow recovery.
World Bank's biannual analysis of the state of the sub-Saharan region's economies estimates the deadly pandemic could cost the region between $37 billion and $79 billion in terms of output losses for 2020, and therefore pegged the region's growth at negative 5.1% in 2020 from a 2.4% growth in 2019. The fight against the novel coronavirus pandemic is set to cost Ghana over 9 billion cedis, according to Ken Ofori-Atta, the finance minister. This will be 2.6% of Ghana's revised GDP. It could go further down to 1.5% in the case of a partial lockdown, and even worse in the case of a full lockdown. Speaking to Joy Business, financial analyst Charles Mensah said recovery will be slow for the economy post the pandemic.
So bouncing back, it will be slow because you will not expect people to consume 3 times now that we are back, to consume 3 times things that they didn't do. You don't expect the hotels to recover quickly. So bouncing back, it will be slow. Now, if you look at the commodity market, we are a new kid on the block in terms of oil. But look at the prices of the oil. It's just gone down. It's going to have serious impact on our revenues because if you look at our revenue projections, a large portion of it is coming from the oil sector. And now the price has gone down, so it's going to affect us. We may have taken some room under the cocoa and gold. The price have been stable. But look, if you do the volumes, who is buying and where and who's going to consume and all those. Gold, yes, because people will use gold as a measure of store value or stability, so people probably go into the gold. So yes, you can. But whether our mining companies, because of this pandemic, whether people are even going underground to mine. So volumes-wise, I'm not too sure that we can even achieve those volumes that we expected.
Mr. Mensah adds the pandemic presents an opportunity for the country to increase its domestic production capacity to take advantage of the upcoming Continental Free Trade Area Agreement.
Now, as the impact of the coronavirus pandemic is felt amongst industries, some banks have begun working out modalities to come up with the right support to revive dying manufacturing firms. Board Chairman of Standard Chartered Bank, Dr. Emmanuel Otinkuma, says his bank is going to support operations of industry, especially SMEs, in order to reduce the negative impact of the pandemic.
The bank has already rolled out support to industry. In particular, there are schemes in place to support industry in terms of, either their loans or in terms of, either the tenor of loans or even the level of interest rates and so on and so forth. So we are working with industry to make sure that, the problems that they are facing or the challenges are alleviated somewhat. So, and also, as we said, to vulnerable groups in terms of food and assistance, we have a plan in terms of the 1 million commitment to support also vulnerable groups, because as you know, vulnerable groups always need assistance in such a manner.
All right, so in other news, the Project Management Institute Ghana says it is looking for opportunities to engage government in developing applications to manage the coronavirus pandemic. There's more in this report.
The Project Management Institute is ready to support government's efforts in dealing with the COVID-19 outbreak by offering its expertise. According to the president of the institute, government alone cannot deal with the situation.
One of our core functions is actually project management. So we are looking for opportunity to be able to work with government to come up with applications as well as our skills and knowledge in managing, in handling the whole situation as a project, and also to be able to provide management and evaluation, because that is what we do as an association. So we are hoping to be able to engage government on this, as well as the government officials that are actually working on this, to be able to provide our expertise in the form of pro bono to the government. So it's one of the things we are pursuing. Hopefully we'll be able to pull this through as well.
The institute has donated assorted medical items to the East Municipal Hospital and the Domestic Violence Victim Support Unit.
And that's it for Business Tonight. Sports is coming up next. Do stay tuned.
The COVID-19 pandemic has taken a toll on sports, just as it has on virtually every facet of life. Joy Sports Benedict Ogusu brings you a special report on the impact of the pandemic on Ghana Premier League side, Legon Cities FC.
Here is Joseph Mreku. Ebenezer Adi is in the center. Tabila against the woodwork. Ebenezer Adi, good defending from Buedu.
They started the Premier League with a big bang. A team with management poised to make a dominant impression both on the pitch and on the minds of all football fans in Ghana. Their entry was an onslaught branding every space available anywhere. Unlike many of the Premier League teams in Ghana, Legon Cities has a vibrant social media presence. A brand new team with fresh players to unveil, Legon Cities have been a delight to watch, becoming the first club in this season's Premier League to start introducing popular Ghanaian artists at their home matches. They started with Shatta Wale. Then others like Kwesi Arthur, Medical when the Shea came through. In spite of the hype, Legon City started the league losing a lot of matches. Unfortunately, when they started winning, this happened.
The Minister of Health has confirmed 2 cases of COVID-19. The cases were confirmed on the 12th of March, that's today, 2020. Laboratory results of the 2 confirmed cases were received at the same time from the Noguchi Memorial Institute for Medical Research.
This announcement by the health minister changed everything. Here is Communications Director of the club, Kwame Jumajiban.
We were pretty worried about the situation when the league was going to resume and what condition the players were going to be in following that. It was always going to be a tough one, especially when the FA had clearly stated that we could not even train.
Football is a global force. Some even say it's a religion. But football can only survive when matches are played. So with all the flamboyance, the social media activation, when the cheering fans are not in the stands and the goals are not being scored, everything ends.
My goodness, against the side post for Justin Oka. Unbelievable scenes.
What's left of this promising football team and social media fan base who have no victories to celebrate or missed scoring opportunities to boo? Fatah Dawda is the skipper of the side.
Well, you know the situation in Ghana. If we say we should have this pay cut, the salary are coming, but we can't compare ourselves with those playing outside. We can't.
In Europe, okay.
We can't do that. We wish we can. Do something because there's no league going, there's no activity going, but yet still the management are still paying the players. I feel for them.
The fans of the club are not left out. They were enjoying every bit of what was happening at the club until COVID-19. They shared their frustrations with me.
The fans out there are being disturbed due to the suspension of football. Well, due to the pandemic, the president urged that all football activities should be banned, and this is for our safety. I know that majority of us out there are so bored. Some of us are getting depressed, some of us are getting so frustrated, but this is just for a short while. Let us just stay home and stay safe.
So what's their plan now, and are things going to change when football finally resumes? Communications Director Kwame Jumajiman has the answer.
Not much at the moment because we can't even do anything. We are just hoping for the signal to ensure that football can make a return. But of course, that will be decided by the football controlling body and what government has to do in that regard. But for now, obviously, there is not much we can do. But we're pretty confident that when football makes a return, we'll try to improve upon our performances.
Benedict Ogusu with that report, and that'll be all for sports. But Gary Al Smith will be back in the second hour with more sports. Stay tuned in.
Time now for showbiz. Becky is here. Hi, Becky.
Hello to you, Aisha.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Well, but this guy, it's been a while after he died. We've not heard anything about him. So I think it's refreshing hearing from Mary Ganza. What's she saying?
Mary is actually paying tribute to Seth because Seth died today. Mary saw Nenimonyam. For those of you who don't know Seth Frimpong, Mary saw Nenimonyam, and I said, "Oh kum chola ye, oh kum chola." Yes. He died this morning, according to his family members, and everyone has been paying tribute to him. This evening we have Mary Ganza exclusively telling us all about Seth Frimpong.
Yes, the gospel industry has lost a great man of God, Pastor Seth Frimpong, who during the year 2000 made a lot of hits. Songs like Miriso Menimonyam, Miriso, and Okun Chola is a miracle. Chola Chola. I admire this man, though I couldn't have the opportunity to be so close to him. I admire this man for the tenacity, the vibrancy, and the way he expresses his love to God and to his fans. The way he could dance. I couldn't dance like him. So he attracts me. As I said, Frimpong will be missed. He will be missed. He will be missed. I want to take this opportunity to ask the family and the gospel fraternity to accept my condolence.
May his soul rest in peace. And I think Mary Ganza too, we haven't heard from her for a while.
Exactly.
I mean, so it's refreshing to actually see her and also mourning her colleague.
Yeah. So speaking of Mary Ganza, she's also been telling us how the COVID-19 has affected her. She actually has like two things. It's good and there's a bad one.
COVID-19 has a positive side and negative side. The positive side is it has helped me to get closer to God. I've been experiencing being alone with God, but this one has increased the level. The negative side, Bible said we should not forsake the assembly of the brethren. Now we can't go to church, we can't fellowship, we cannot hug, we can't touch, we can't do anything. As a musician, in times like this, I'm invited to join other congregations for services, but now no more.
So that actually, stop making me laugh.
Oh my
that was
goodness.
Mary Ganza.
Yeah, of course, it's good and bad. I mean, both aspects of the COVID-19.
Have you listened to Stonebwoy's album? It's out now. Everybody's talking about it. It's been trending.
Been doing bim, 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 and all that.
Do you know what's recent? Stonebwoy actually is eyeing the Grammys with this particular album.
Wow.
This is a world album, trust me. It has the likes of Kerry, it has the likes of Diamond Platnumz, it has the likes of Nasty C, Zlatan. You can only get the best from this album. Jamil from Jamaica, Aleka Hailey, and everybody. Actually, let me let this one here right now. My wife says you like to tell the truth too much, you know, and that gets you into trouble. We know what it takes to get into all those places. That's all I can say.
All right, Stonebwoy right there. Aisha, what would make you cut your hair?
Fashion.
Okay, fashion. But you know, One Love, he used to have like the very long dreadlocks. So this morning on the AM show, they asked him why he cut his dreadlocks because he's
taking it off.
Yeah, he's taking it. He's growing it back.
Okay, but he's taking the long one.
Yeah, the reason why he took the long one out is very interesting. Listen to this.
I guess I got bored, and also sometimes it scared me in the shower when I'm bathing and I raise my head and I'm washing my hair, whatever. The locks are thick and heavy and they'll be touching my buttocks, and I feel like somebody has entered the bathroom without notifying.
One Love, the Kopolo. Aisha, thanks so much for having me.
Such an interesting character. Thanks so much, Becky, for bringing us Showbiz. Anytime. We'll be back shortly.
Some children at Choco, a fishing community here in Accra, have appealed to government to reopen schools, saying they are unable to benefit from online teaching classes. As many schools remain shut due to the COVID-19 pandemic, government has urged school heads to resort to e-learning. But as Joy News checks show, even this intervention has exposed a huge inequality gap between the haves and have-nots, as some people in the peri-urban areas are unable to participate in online teaching. My colleague Maxwell Agwagwa has been interacting with the Crab family at Choco.
Choco is a fishing community here in the greater Accra region. On a Friday when you come here, there are a lot of activities. Some of the children here will be in school studying. Some of them also, of course, will be at the beach helping their parents with fishing activities. But that is not the case today. All the children today, around this time, this Friday afternoon, are at home because schools are closed. I'm here to meet the Crab family. I'm here to basically find out from them how the children here have been studying. There are about 13 children in this small home. Let me start with Teki, right? Dorcas, okay, Dorcas.
I have friends online, so sometimes we learn online.
Okay.
They send me some questions, I answer them online. But I actually want to go to school, but I feel bored sitting at home.
Okay.
Yeah. My school does not get in touch with me.
So what have you been doing at home?
Just playing, and sometimes I read my books.
Okay. Do you know that you can go online to go and access questions and some other things?
Yes.
Okay. But do you go, or you don't have internet, or you don't have computer?
I don't have any of them. I don't have internet and computers.
Okay. So you can't learn online?
Yes.
Okay.
No quick.
No quick. How have you been learning at home?
I don't learn.
Why don't you learn?
I don't have computer and phones that will be going on internet to learn. So I just sit at home and watch television. My learning is going down. I want government to open the school so that you can go to school and go and learn.
Impact government fai. Kuni mbeke me abon school ya. Eka shinu mo eba. Na me kase ameni.
Okay.
Aka han mbeke me fetch mo kobolo.
Okay.
Ame kase ni.
Okay.
Ame jomo mbasese.
Okay. Okay. Well, she's also quite disturbed about the situation. She says they are retrogressing in terms of their studies. They are no longer progressing, and she's appealing to government if something can be done about the situation.
New biane na kan internet na kan homework ni obe na kan ni ekonika homework na mama manya mena ekona me kase obe ane won pa won me te fire kitchen e fe lo konu biane beke biane me tasha me ya school me biane na me nya me kase lo ko fi ko na me the money e pese ni biane nye ba e ba ke beke bia ko me ni obe amele ni biane ke o achari buko no kan me ke amenyeni ameke ona ka do mo mba she won pa mi won pa government te na efe loko yan wo bi.
She wants government to intervene. She feels that the children are retrogressing in terms of their studies. She says they do not have access to internet or to the computer to be able to follow teaching and
Meanwhile, school authorities have foreseen difficulty in observing social distancing when students return from the long break necessitated by the coronavirus pandemic. Assistant Headmistress of the Santimang Senior High School in Kumasi, Georgina Osei, says congestion must be addressed before schools reopen. She spoke with the media during disinfection of the schools as part of the second batch of second cycle institutions in the Ashanti region to benefit under a government initiative. Mahmoud Mohamed Nuruddin reports.
The first port of call for one of the 5 disinfection teams was at the Armed Forces Senior High Technical School. Classrooms, dormitories and other facilities were covered. Asantemai Senior High School was next to benefit from the exercise. Assistant Headmistress for Domestic Affairs, Georgina Osei, says bedbugs infestation is major concern.
Oh, bedbug issue, is serious. And we have made effort to control them a bit. It was serious because previously we were using wooden beds. Now that we changed over to metal beds, I think it's a bit okay. We've been using the dress force to control them sometimes, so I think now it's a bit okay.
Mrs. Osei acknowledges the disinfection exercise is timely, but she is worried about congestion.
Observe social distancing, yes, that one. Oh, that one is true. Everybody, it's everywhere. As for the schools, no headmaster can say that social distancing can be observed when the students come, because from one student to another, you know that because of the free SHS, everybody is coming. So that's what I suggested, that they should be given some of these masks when they come back to school so that they can also wear it to protect them enough. As for the social distancing, I'm not sure in schools it will be appropriate for us.
The situation at Al-Azhariya Islamic Senior High School was not different.
Really, we have cases of bedbugs because students, when they come together, sometimes we do have such cases, and we really wanted to even disinfect the dormitories before even school resume, and now government has come to also help us in that direction. Yeah. Actually, in fact, for our girls, we don't even have dormitory. We even take a classroom to be part of to host the students in the classrooms, and in the classroom, it's not a sizable the dormitory capacity. So in a classroom we have about 50 students. Really, it will be very difficult for us to look at to observe those things, the social distancing.
At Osei Chiriche Senior High School, Headmaster Andrews Boatin shared his impression.
And you tell us, what do you make of this particular disinfection?
Thank you. I'm Mr. Boatin Andrews, Headmaster of Osei Chiriche Senior High School. First of all, we thank the government very much for this disinfection which is going on in various schools. It's a very good program going on, and to help the school prepare for the student to come back. At least they've disinfected our offices, the classrooms, the dormitories, which will go a very long way to help us. At least when the students come, they will see that something has been done in their absence, and they also be ready to learn.
Yeah. In other schools, they were complaining about bed bugs. I mean, what is the situation here?
Our bed bugs, as I said to the other group, we don't have much problem about bed bugs because internally we have been disinfecting the place before. So almost every semester we do our internal ones. So we don't have much problem, but we'll always ask for more. We can't say because we've done our homework, we will not accept you. That's what we are accepting. So bed bugs, though we have challenge, but it's not as much as other schools are complaining. We don't have much challenge on the bed bugs.
The team also visited Nsutamai Catholic Senior High School.
Yes, that's why I mentioned that even in our school, we have crowded spaces in the dormitory. So if we are to come back, the only way we can improvise is that we have a big assembly hall, so that in the night, we can make some of them sleep in the dining hall. assembly hall. That's what I'm trying to say. So if we are to improvise, that is what the school can do for now. Other than that, the current situation is such that they are close to each other in the dormitory.
And so what do you think the spraying exercise will?
The spraying exercise will go a long way. Because one, I said we have bed bugs infestation.
Muslims in Ghana say they will not be discouraged by social distancing protocols as they kickstart the 2020 Ramadan fast amidst the scourge of the pandemic that is wreaking havoc across the globe. With mosques shut and congregational prayers a key component of the Ramadan fast suspended, this year's Ramadan promises to be very different from what the faithful have been used to. My colleague Latif Idris has been speaking with Muslim families, some of whom are already appealing to government to open the mosque, especially during the last 10 days of the Ramadan fast.
I'm moving from the first row of the Islamic Research Mosque in Nima. This mosque is arguably one of the biggest mosques in this neighborhood. On the first Friday of the month of Ramadan and on the first day of Ramadan 2020, this place would have been packed. But as you observe, the place is eerily quiet. All because Muslims are observing the social distancing protocols announced by the president, even as they observe one of the pillars of their religion.
Ba don wannan annoba da ya zo muna ba, da yau wannan lokaci da muke ciki, da duk gurin nan ya cika da jama'a. Da duk gurin nan ya cika da jama'a, amma saboda wannan abun gashi yau
If things were normal, if we were in normal times, this place would have been packed with Muslims shoulder to shoulder in unison praying to Almighty Allah. But for many Muslims, as novel as the coronavirus is, so have they braced up for what would be an unusual Ramadan. We are in a difficult time of our lives. We cannot observe all these congregational prayers and all the blessings that come with coming together to pray and observe the Ramadan fast, praying together at midnight. All of that is not going to happen this year. The impact of the ban on congregational prayers would be felt during the Ramadan period, but the impact would even be greater during the last 10 days of Ramadan, when Muslims have to do without a key component of the holy month, the Tahajjud prayer, prayers observed at midnight. Some of them are appealing to authorities to lessen the restriction by opening up the mosques for those 10 days.
The
last 10 days of Ramadan fast is when Muslims congregate at the mosque at midnight to say prayers to Almighty Allah. When that time comes, the appeal is that government should consider and open the mosques. But for the Mamprose chief of Greater Accra, the pandemic has not only derailed this year's Ramadan, but is disrupting the religion of Islam.
It's not just derailing our way of worship or Islam. The whole world, everything is going down, is being reversed. And I know it is going to even take the world some time after coronavirus to come back to its normal position. Look at our big powers. Look at what is happening in America. Look at what is happening in Italy. China, they are now coming out of it. And those people were the people we're looking to.
It's day one of the 30 days fast, with the social distancing protocol still in force. And as it's being observed by Muslims the world over, many are hopeful that come the end of Ramadan, the pandemic would have ended.
Ramadan Kareem to all Muslims. At least 29 West African nationals are stranded in Kumasi after their hope of landing their dream jobs of working in a mining firm hit a snag. The all-male foreigners reportedly paid $700 each to a supposed recruitment agency to facilitate their employment. They, however, arrived in Ghana last February only to learn the deal was rather for network marketing. My colleague Ohimen Teria has more in the following report.
Life has since been difficult for the victims who have unsuccessfully been demanding refund of their monies from the group, which operates with the name KeoNet. 29-year-old Mohammed Bonga is one of the affected persons.
For the two of you, they said, we are going to put you on the computer side. They said, just sign. We will not call you here for rubbish. And I hope you told us that you don't know Ghana for rubbish. You don't know them for criminal act. You know some country for criminal act. They took me inside the room again. They started filling the form. They said, write your name. I write my name. Write your date of birth. I write my date of birth. Your next of kin. Because they told me, they said they are going to open account for you. They said the account they are opening for you is at the bank. During that time now, my money was with the guy that called me. I gave him the money. $750 US. They say, feel here, I feel. Feel here, put your name, I put my name. Your date of birth, I put my date of birth. They said, do you have phone? I said, I don't have phone number. So that day they make the transaction. They said, sign here, I sign. When we came out, they carry us to another place, they say Paradise Shift Room. There they introduced their business to us. They said, now you don't come here to a mining company, but rather you come here to do KeoNet. I say, you deceive me. I say, you put shame on me, because I told all my friends that I'm going to Ghana, an improved place like Ghana. I said, I'm going there to work.
Failure of the host to refund the money resulted in a scuffle between Mr. Bonga and his colleagues on one side and KeoNet officials at the other. The matter was reported to the Abuakwa police, who are investigating. Amid the tussle, Bonga and his colleagues are struggling to survive with no money to buy food.
This is our first time of being in Ghana and our first time of being in Kumasi specific. I said, we don't know anybody here, we don't know the route to go to police station, in fact. So the next day, I start fighting them. I said they will not enter the room if they don't give my money. They came to police station, which is Abuakwa police station. They reported the matter to police. The police went to arrest me. That day when they heard that the police is coming, they took out their KeoNet paper. They fold it, they put it inside. So the next day we went to the police station. The police went, they took statement from us. We give our statement. They carry us to one of the crime officer. Crime officer talked to us. He talked to the guys. He said, now, what I'm telling you, he said, you guys, he said, the act you do, he said, is bad. He said, it's vicarious act. He said, vicarious liability. He said, how can you call the person far away from the Gambia, you come with him here, you tell him he's a mining company, and it's not a mining company, it's another business, it's KeoNet. He said, how can that happen? He said, please give their money. Next day now, when they called me with the guy went, their boss, which they called Joseph, he went to the police. That day, I think they are calling me to give our money. So what I see, they start opening phones. They said we buy product in Malaysia. Up to now, we don't eat at times. At times we eat once a day.
From Abuakwa, for Joy News, Ohimen Teria reporting.
Staff of Multimedia have received samples of a new water-based disinfectant spray to help keep them safe from COVID-19. Maglin Industries Limited, producers of mobile water, made the donation in recognition of the frontline role being played by media houses such as the Multimedia Group. Chief Executive Magnus Nuno, meanwhile, says some of the profit from the sale of the disinfectant spray will go into the COVID-19 fund.
First and foremost, keep numbers down by way of the virus through all we exhale out and everything, and I think that will help us. We'll come to interview you, just like joke, you just spray a few the droplets will take care of the virus. Well and judiciously, every individual can use one per month, no more than that. Because if you look at the rate of infections and those who tell their experiences where I traveled to. All of them went to or attended meetings somewhere outside the country. They really cannot tell what happened. All I knew that I was in a meeting in closed place. I didn't touch anybody, and I came back to Ghana, and then I realized that I had the virus. So usually, in closed places like this, the rate of infection and transmission is pretty very high. So we leave it hanging in the air. There was this thing, animation running on social media, where you sneeze and you see how far it goes. So if you contract that with a spray, then it kills it. Now, it is said that when you sneeze, or as I speak, and I exhale, it goes straight about how many? A meter or two, and it goes down. So when I spray, it also releases droplets in the air. And so if the virus settles, and I also spray, this one also settles, and it takes off the virus there.
Government is receiving a 250-acre ultra-modern Pentecost Convention Center at Gomwa, Fete in the Central Region as an isolation center from the Church of Pentecost. The facility, which will be able to admit 1,000 patients at a time, is part of their corporate social responsibility to fight COVID-19. Also, the church has given the NCCE 12 vans to facilitate education on the disease, PPEs worth thousands of Ghana cedis to clinics and hospitals, and a 100,000 cedis as a contribution to the COVID fund. Speaking on Ekwesi, chairman of the church, Apostle Eric Nyameche, indicated a memorandum of understanding has already been signed by government to commence operations at the isolation center.
Our church has offered various resources to government to help fight the COVID spread, and that includes a cash donation of 100,000 Ghana cedis to the COVID fund.
Yeah, so your areas. I saw him saying, "Chichemu, your bombardier so bia baby, area normal baby at the abua, and I answer your hospitals, miansa, and your clinics, yeah." Clinics enum. Okay. Inti na esese honsi ya kokobwa. But na your minor because shall bind there. But also.
In addition, all Pentecost branches have contributed their widow's mite in different donation drives, also to combat the disease.
Abua abaine sabrim. And bako edimu kra afe yayene isolation center. Yeah. Abine app baby. No, the one were positive in ego. Our Pentecost Convention Center. PCC.
But most importantly, we are allowing government to take over our convention facility as an isolation center to treat COVID-19 patients.
Any medical personnel, 300 ni echi. Also, Yeje Mama Baya, Abayan Eden in Sabato Sunafe, Yasha Nipa no Betoma.
Was the live on Joy News Prime. There is more when we return from this break.
Disqualified GFA presidential candidate or hopeful, Wilfred Osei Kweku, aka Palmer, says nothing has changed under the new Kurt Okraku GFA administration, and he was answering a question that had to do with the differences between now and Kwesi Nyantakyi's time.
A casual look at what is happening at the FA strongly indicates that my very good friend Kurt Okraku is not having a smooth sailing. So many decisions that have been taken that are debatable.
For instance?
For instance, the way national team coaches were appointed. I don't think it befits modern way of recruitment in terms of transparency, because you ask yourself, if you can handpick every national team coach and place him there, wherein lies the transparency? You have to standardize the way you go about the recruitment process, because the technical team of any team plays a critical role in terms of going forward. We have handpicked every head coach for the respective national teams up to the Blasters level. Has it always been the case? I quite remember when Kwesi was there, we allowed every coach to apply, even the under 17, the under 16, up to the highest level. Two, in terms of the way we handled the financial issues at Congress, I wasn't happy at all. in the sense that finance remains the government of any institutions. That is why when you go out there to do your SWOT analysis, you throw your snapshot on the financials, whatever it will tell you, it will give you indicators as to the problems or challenges that a particular institution is facing.
And on that controversial note, we end the sport. Thank you for your time. I'm Gary Al Smith. Let's do this again on Monday.
Welcome back to Joy News Prime Time now for editorial. Araba Kumsin is here with it.
The coronavirus pandemic has the whole world back against the ropes. Talk about millions of jobs lost, businesses struggling to keep afloat, and health systems stretched to their limits. It really is a dire situation, and no one country is spared, not even the superpowers of this world. Over the last 4 months, this pandemic has ravaged many countries, leaving in its wake weakened economies and exposing the inequality gaps in most cases. Our case count stands at 1,127. 10 people have so far died, and it is projected that more than 1 million may likely be infected. Our major approach to fighting this invisible enemy included locking down 2 major cities, encouraging the wearing of face masks, directing the adherence to social distancing protocols, urging the use of hand sanitizers, developing an app to detect persons who may have contracted the virus, providing free food for vulnerable Ghanaians, as well as offering utilities, that's free power and free water. Well, these may be laudable initiatives, some may argue, but still, the inequalities and the gaps in the system are still laid bare for everyone to see.
It is costing us a lot. The one they brought here, it is 30 Ghana. Now he said it is 35 cedis per one. And one bucket is 1 cedi.
And with schools being shut, children in the rural and the peri-urban areas are unable to participate in online teaching classes. They are missing out on what their more privileged peers are benefiting from.
I want government to open the school so that you can go to school and go and learn. I don't have computer and phones that will be going on internet to learn. So I just sit at home and watch television.
Not work. My school did not get touch with me.
So what have you been doing at home?
Just playing, and sometimes I read my books.
Okay.
I don't have internet and computers.
Okay. So you can't learn online?
Yes.
The poor and the vulnerable clamored for the lifting of the lockdown. For them, the hunger virus is as real as the coronavirus.
You see what I'm going to eat? Cow from Bola. Find it inside. I'm 52 years old now. I have a child, a baby. How can I feel here? No dog. No dog. We are suffering. The suckers don't move. Why? Are we the one who cause the viruses? Yeah.
So this pandemic has opened our eyes to many things. We have always known that we are not economically independent, but this situation has shown that successive governments have not done enough to lift us out of poverty. I mean, how many in Ghana's so-called middle class can survive 3 months without any salary or income? Health workers have been crying for well-stocked intensive care units for decades. They've been crying for more ventilators, but our leaders have paid them no mind. To think that the whole public health sector just has 67 ventilators exposes our so-called unprecedented investment in health. Well, going forward, government ought to invest more in the health sector. We must prioritize the safety of our health workers and resource them adequately. We must ensure the citizenry are adequately educated on this disease and its deadly effect. And to do that, we need to step up education. But can that be done if the National Commission for Civic Education, whose mandate is to educate the people, have not received a peswa of their budgetary allocation?
any money at all from the government of Ghana. Our goods and services budget was 7 million. We haven't received a cedi.
Why? Any explanations have they given?
No, everything is on the GIFMIS systems and the processes have been duly executed on our end. What is left with is releases for, so we're in Q2 basically, and we haven't received it. So all we've been able to share with our staff is 100 cedis per district to undertake.
Hold on, what did you just say?
Yes, you just heard me right, 100 cedis.
100 cedis per district?
Yes.
For what?
And we sent the 100 cedis just for them to buy sanitizers and masks or gloves where available.
Sad, isn't it? This pandemic should open our eyes to many of the developmental challenges that afflict us. It should ginger us to ensure even distribution of wealth and resources. It should strengthen government's resolve to pay greater attention to the vulnerable in society. But the question is, will our politicians and leaders listen and put their horses to work?
And that's how we wrap up the bulletin.
All right, and that'll be all for the bulletin. I'm Israel Ayankrim from home, Aisha.
And my name is Aisha Ibrahim. Many thanks for watching. Enjoy the rest of our programs.